Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Randall Beatley, and this is the Concord Outlaws Wrestling Podcast. I am the host of the Raw Recap Show, and today I am by myself. I'm going to basically share my opinions on Fastlane as a whole, and where I see the product moving as we head towards WrestleMania. And I gotta say, I don't hate Fastlane as a pay-per-view. It was pretty boring, and I can understand where people see that from. But I don't think that's Fastlane. I don't think it was just that particular event. I think that's Raw in itself. I think Raw has always, since at least the last couple months since the draft, Raw has always felt flat to me. And I think booking wise, yes, it hasn't been right. I mean, they have the talent to produce good shows, but I just think that they try too much. I feel that Raw has become more of the sort of casual fan show where the casual fans, not the hardcore fans, watch more of Raw than they do SmackDown. I feel that SmackDown is the sort of hardcore booking for the hardcore fans, the people who watch all the time. And so as it reveals, as it concerns to Fastlane, there's a couple things that made no sense to me. The first one is, why did we start the show with what could have been match of the night? We started it with Sammy versus Joe, which, I mean, you could have thrown other things in there. And that match, to me, was sort of like the whole pay-per-view. Me and my friends got together and were watching it, and we talked most of the whole night without paying much attention to the wrestling. It sort of became background to our conversation. Of course, we were planning, sort of figuring out the last logistical things for our trip to Orlando when we go to WrestleMania. But it just sort of became background noise. Oh, yeah, we're paying attention every now and then. But it really didn't matter. We all expected that. I mean, if you watch the last podcast of our predictions, me, my friend Cody, my brother James, we all basically said the same thing. That we felt that Fastlane would really, really disappoint, really fall flat. And it did. I wasn't disappointed because I expected it. Another thing that really confused me about the whole event is you built Nia Jax and Braun Strowman to be these unbeatable forces, these monsters in the ring, and you have them lose cleanly. I just don't understand. I've been saying this about Raw for a long time, but the storylines don't build to nothing at pay-per-views. They climax at Raws, and they just sort of downhill fall at the pay-per-views, and nothing really comes out of pay-per-views. No other storylines are built. The same way again with the Braun Strowman match. First off, Roman Reigns, please don't wear tennis shoes ever again. Second, that match was just, it was okay. Again, I didn't really pay attention. Most of the, again, it was just background. I paid attention a little bit, but what? Why would you have Braun Strowman lose cleanly to Roman Reigns? I fully expected Undertaker to show up in that match. I really did. And another thing, you built 16 months worth of undefeated singles matches and pay-per-views, and you built it, and you had her lose it the pay-per-view before the show of shows. Like, you couldn't just put it off 4 more weeks and build the storyline. That's the thing. I think the problem with Raw is that they don't build the stories. The writers really can't tell a story the way I think they should be told. And so we end up with Bayley still being champion, which I'm fine with. Again, but having Charlotte lose cleanly. If she would have lost because of disqualification, I would have been perfectly fine with that. But having her lose the single streak at a pay-per-view that didn't matter just makes no sense to me. And then, of course, we get all the filler that really meant nothing. The Cruiserweight match was pretty good. I think I think the whole show was very predictable and how things were going out. And so before we talk about Goldberg, because that's what everyone wants to talk about, is Goldberg. I want to sort of just talk about my predictions for WrestleMania. Actually, I'll end it that way. I'll talk about Goldberg now just to get that out of the way. It's one of those things where I saw the comment, didn't think it would happen. There was a lot of showing that it wouldn't happen, that Owens would have retained. But I'm not surprised they did what they did. And I'm about to go on a rant because what happens is something I've been afraid of happening, and it's something that really gets on my nerves. So sit back for a couple minutes as I rant a little bit. WWE, what in the world are you doing? Giving a part-timer the biggest belt in your company. You make this belt, you make the brand look foolish and stupid giving part-timers the belt. When you got guys who put in work day in and day out, 360 days a year, putting life, body, and career on the line, yet don't get opportunities that you give these people who come for 2 months and then leave. I've said this multiple times. I didn't like that they took the belt off of CM Punk and gave it to The Rock. I didn't like that they took the belt and gave it to Brock Lesnar. I did not like at all. Now they took the belt off of Kevin Owens and gave it to Goldberg. Why? It makes no sense. And then you headline the show of shows with part-timer versus part-timer for a full-time belt. Why? Why do you constantly treat your fans this way? Why? I get it. Goldberg, Brock Lesnar's a moneymaker, but you know what? It was a moneymaker before the title was involved. No one really wants to see them fight for the title. And those who do are the casual fans, and I understand that you're more concerned about the casual fan, you want to keep them drawn in. But you got fans like me and thousands of other people who spend money, lots of it, to go to shows, to buy merchandise, who spend time and revolve their schedule around your programming, spending thousands of dollars a year on merchandise and shows, live events, merchandise, belts, anything, and you treat them as if their opinion does not matter. It makes no sense. Hurrah, Goldberg's champion. Good nostalgic feeling, but I've even seen people who love the nostalgia but don't want Goldberg to be champion. Because again, where's the prestige in this? And a lot of people are going to be, oh, Kevin Owens got squashed. Oh, Brock Lesnar got squashed. Goldberg's only been in the ring for 2 minutes. I don't care how long Goldberg's been in the ring for. It really doesn't bother me. I've known Goldberg couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle it 12 years ago. He can't wrestle. He can't perform. He can't put on matches that entertain. My biggest problem is Goldberg is a part-time champion for a full-time belt. Am I mad that Chris Jericho's United States champion? Absolutely not. He is a part-timer. He's on a month-to-month contract. His contract has gone longer than they would ever expect it to be. But I'm not mad he's United States champion. Why? One, because that's the only belt in the company he has never won, and now he got it. And two, who gives a flying turd out of the United States Championship? Who cares? There's no prestige in it because of the way they treated it in the past, and I feel they're doing the same thing to the Universal Championship. They've taken all the prestige away from this belt. Now let me tell you where this is going to end, guys. Brock Lesnar wins at WrestleMania. Goldberg walks away from the company. Brock Lesnar is the champion, a part-time champion, and at SummerSlam, either Roman Reigns or Finn Balor gets the belt. And I don't know about you, but I feel we could save a lot of time and energy to get back to that point. We could have done this so much better. Where could we have changed it? First off, it was really predictable that Goldberg would have been champion because you wouldn't have brought back a guy who hasn't been here in 12 years. If you weren't going to at least give him something. But also, I think we got to stop catering to the casual fan. Again, this is something that gets on my nerves. You get these guys who they bring back, who get all the opportunities in the world, and then walk away again. When you got full-time guys like Sami Zayn and Cesaro who put in work, guys like Jack Swagger who put in work for years and was never treated with the respect that he deserved. I don't know the backstage story of why Swagger was always lower card, never mid card or above. Why? I don't know the story of Jack Swagger behind the stage. But I know he put in work and he can wrestle. You got guys on the roster who can wrestle, who are technical wrestlers. And I know that's not the name of the business. The name of the business now is performance, and I understand. But a lot of these guys are entertaining. You got a lot of entertaining guys, or guys who could put on 5-star matches, and you treat them like nothing? Sami Zayn, ever since being on the main roster, has never got a title opportunity, when I would have given him like 20 of them by now. Cesaro has never been in a situation in at least the last 2 years to have a major title. And he has the tag team, but again, Raw has no prestige in their championships. The tag titles lost prestige when New Day was forced to win the record. The women's belt no one cares about because it keeps flip-flopping. The U.S. had no prestige to begin since the draft. And the only real belt people cared about was the Universal Championship. Finn Balor won it, got hurt. Oh, unfortunate. Kevin Owens now has it. Had a 6-month reign. Everyone was so excited. And how you blow that all away? You blow it all away to do what? Give a 50-year-old the belt? Where's the prestige in that? Oh, but Vince McMahon is laughing and smiling right now, and all the executives are laughing and smiling right now because they have money. And I'm not angry. I'm not going to stop watching. But I don't think that's how you make your point. Because, again, Vince doesn't care about the long-term fan. The long-term fans can leave all they want. Because he's just going to cater to the casual fan. The guys who just watch Monday and Tuesday. And maybe buy one show in their hometown and buy the WWE Network to watch the pay-per-views. But they're casual fans. They don't really care. Trying to promote guys that shouldn't be champions. And I'm trying to wrap around my head where this picture ends. Because how many times have we done this and the fans have totally disapproved? I just don't get it. Why can't Raw, who's supposed to be the flagship program of the WWE, be more like SmackDown? And I get it. And we can discuss the time differences. Mick Foley's brought up the question of whether or not Raw should be 3 hours or not. USA is saying, look, we need the show to be 3 hours so we can get more money. But you don't have writers who can write a 3-hour show, much less write for an entire month to get pay-per-views. I can already tell you SmackDown's side of the show is going to steal the show because they have 6 to 7 weeks to book it. And to tell a story. See, why do I like SmackDown so much better than Raw? Because the storylines evolve. Guys, Natalya versus Nikki Bella is the greatest story I've seen in women's wrestling in the last couple years. There's so much to it. It got personal. It became amazing. And it led to the new story. Guys, I don't care how much or whatever you say about Nikki Bella, but her last 2 feuds have led into other feuds. Her feud with Carmella led into a feud with Natalya, which now is leading into a feud with Maurice. And now you add John Cena into the mix. And how they tell this story. And now it's even more connected. Guys, the storytelling on SmackDown is so much better, and we need that on Raw. Vince thinks that adding AJ Styles, and guys, I understand y'all don't want this, but guess what? Vince is going to do it anyway. At the next draft, AJ Styles most likely will be drafted to Raw, because apparently Vince McMahon thinks that only adding AJ Styles to SmackDown will draw a better crowd. No. That's not going to help it. We need better booking. We need writers who actually care about the the fans and know how to tell stories. Until we get that, we're just going to get the same old product. I don't understand how we can even sit here and pretend as if the product is good. Because it's not. Yet you want to compete with Okada versus Omega. You're not going to get that. At least with the Raw side. But with that, we'll end that rant. And I'm just going to go ahead and go into my predictions for WrestleMania, how I expect things to turn out. And so we'll start with the Raw storylines. We saw this yesterday with Taker and Reigns, so that's going to be an official match, and I don't like it at all. I really don't. There's nothing in my mind that shows Taker Reigns deserves an opponent like Taker. And the story says, again, there's no storyline other than Roman Reigns eliminated Undertaker at Royal Rumble. Why is that a big deal? Why are we making that such a big deal? I just believe there's so much more potential for that. Again, it was confirmed yesterday that on Raw that Kevin Owens will face Chris Jericho for the United States Championship. Which is a match I expected to happen. I knew the match would happen. I just wanted it to be title for title. I really thought that Owens should have retained the belt, and this should have been a title for title match. Hey, guess what? I'm fine with Kevin Owens lose the belt. I didn't really care as Kevin Owens as Universal Champion. I didn't really care. But there's other ways. You can have him win the belt off Jericho, send Jericho off, and then have someone like Finn Balor win the title off of Kevin Owens at Payback or the next pay-per-view after that. As of now, it looks like Rollins and Triple H is a go, and it will happen. 2 weeks ago, Rollins said he would be on Raw, or he would be in Orlando. Again, not sure how that match will go out. I'm really excited to see it, and I hope it goes well. I just want to see how the storyline leads. Does it lead to Rollins facing Samoa Joe? Where does this whole storyline lead to? Of course, Goldberg versus Brock, which has been on since Survivor Series. It's been a match for a long time. But this time, it's probably going to be the headline. It's probably going to be and will be for the Universal Championship. And a match that no one cares about, honestly. No one cares about this. And I think it's utter disrespect for people who pay as much money as you're forcing people to pay to see this as the main event. I mean, floor tickets, guys. Floor tickets to WrestleMania are $3,000. That's not chump change to some people. Yeah, guys like me and my friends we're sitting midway up. And we've spent, I would say, close to $1,000 for all the events. Then we get to the women's, which, there's no storyline. First off, you got a women's championship, which will probably not be up for grabs. It'll probably be a fatal four-way. The way I see it, Bayley versus Charlotte versus Sasha versus Nia Jax in a fatal four-way match. Whether for the championship or not, I don't think it'll be for the championship. I think Bayley just goes in, leaves as champion. I don't think the match really matters, and it really doesn't set nothing up. Then you get the tag team championship, which to me now, after yesterday, looks like it's going to be a triple threat tag match with the Club versus Enzo and Cass versus Sheamus and Cesaro. A match which I like. It's a good match. You got a lot of good stars. You got a lot of good talent. I just hope something comes out of it. Again, if storylines continue to grow, it could be a good match. And then you get the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, which will feature some guys. I'm predicting Braun Strowman to win that match. To get his momentum up. I think he wins it, goes on, and has a great rest of the year. Braun Strowman is my most improved of the last year and a half since debuting. Since he debuted, he's improved a lot, and I think they really took a chance on him at the draft, putting him by himself. And I think he's done a good job answering that. So kudos to him if he ever hears this. And then we get the cruiserweights with Neville versus Aries. It's going to happen. So I hope Double A gets the victory there and wins the Cruiserweight Championship from the self-proclaimed King of the Cruiserweights. So again, as you see the Raw side of the card, I mean, it's not bad. The talent's good. It's just I know booking, and it doesn't look good in the main event. This disappoints. But we go over to SmackDown, guys, and again, this is updated as of last Tuesday, not as. And we'll see more storylines develop tonight on SmackDown. But it looks like the WWE Championship will be defended, and I think it will still be a triple threat with Orton, Bray, and Harper. Orton will definitely be in the match. Harper, I think, should be in there. I think tonight Orton faces AJ Styles, and the winner gets to be in the match. So I just don't see what could happen is Harper could go on Andre the Giant Battle Royal as well, and just gain momentum that way. That could happen. I could see that happening. But at least we know we're getting Orton and Bray. There is nothing. I have nothing against AJ Styles. I don't want him for the title, though. We've had enough of him as champion. I like AJ Styles. My name is the PhenomenalShowoff. Styles is my one of my favorites. SmackDown is my favorite brand. I cover Raw because why not? We already got people who like to cover SmackDown now. Hopefully we'll get them to start doing SmackDown recaps here soon. But speaking of Styles, again, just you can give Styles anybody on that roster, and it would be a 5-star match. But the way it seems, and the way rumor pages are booking it, and the way Meltzer and his backstage knowledge puts it, it looks like AJ Styles gets Shane McMahon for the championship. Or not for the any championship, but at WrestleMania, the show shows AJ Styles who's put in the most amount of work in the past year. Goes into a second WrestleMania and faces Shane McMahon. There are rumors saying he gets Nakamura. I don't see that happening. But I would like to see how this match goes. I'm not 100% against the match. I don't think it's the best option, and I think it's complete disrespect for AJ Styles. And they didn't get the women's situation, which I think Elimination Chamber threw a big spin on booking it because Naomi got hurt. Naomi won the championship, and it was hooray, hooray. She's going into Orlando, her hometown, as champion. Will she walk away? Yeah, put up a lot of intrigue on that match. And I would have said Alexa gets gets not really a rematch, but gets another chance to retain to get the title against Naomi. But I don't think that happens. I think Alexa, who is now champion again, faces off against Becky Lynch. I think they're just gonna keep throwing that out there until Naomi gets ready again. They don't really have a deep women class in terms of champion favorites, because they've been focusing so much on these other tiny feuds, which I 100% appreciate. SmackDown's women are 100 times better in terms of storyline development and character development and match performance. I feel there's so many more divas that are being utilized on SmackDown, and I hate to call them divas, I'm sorry, women wrestlers. There's so many more women wrestlers who are being utilized on SmackDown in a 2-hour period than ever on Raw. We get the same 4 every week on Raw. And now we're going to throw Emma into the mix if she ever comes out, and it looks like she's coming out as her old character before she got hurt. They wasted 6 months on this whole Emma Lena thing, and throwing it out the books before it even started. But anyway, we continue with the match I'm actually really looking forward to. The Intercontinental Championship has always been my favorite belt in the WWE, because it seemed to be the only one Dolph Ziggler ever fought for, and Ziggler is my favorite in the company. And it seems like it's going to be a good match. Ambrose versus Corbin looks like it's the way it's going to be. And if they can continue telling the story the way Ambrose can tell the story, my God, it's going to be amazing. I love Corbin. Corbin's put in work as well in the last 2 years. So kudos to him. And I think Corbin actually gets the win. I really hope he does. And then I think Alpha will defend the championship. How? I have no idea. My guess right now is that they get the Usos. But there's some who say they could do an open challenge, and NXT call-up the Revival could show up. I hope that happens. I really do. I've been hoping for that forever. Their feud, Alpha and a Revival's feud in NXT, was the greatest thing I've seen in forever. Tag team wise, I just love the chemistry, and the Revival could put on a show. I didn't like, again, I'm not a real big for heels, so Ziggler's really the only heel I really like, and 100% support Ziggler and maybe AJ Styles heel wise. So I wasn't big for the heel, but I think looking at them, I always pull for the faces, but looking at them as wrestlers, they put on great matches. I like the Revival, and I like to see them add another chapter to this rivalry and continue it from NXT. But right now I'm going to say that Alpha gets the Usos and retains. And I think the night after, or the Tuesday after Mania, they'll do another open challenge. Or they'll do the open challenge and get the Revival. I really hope that's what happens. And then you get the Andre the Giant match. Some guys will be thrown into there, like Ziggler and Apollo and Kalisto. None of which I think will actually get in and win the match, but it's gonna happen. And another match I think is intriguing: Nikki and Cena versus Miz and Maryse. It's an intriguing matchup. We haven't seen Maryse wrestle in a while. So, and it's finally awesome to see Cena and Nikki work together. I mean, it's one of those awkward things to get people who are actually dating on screen together, and I feel WWE tries to get away from that. Carmella dating Big Cass has been completely separated, with Cass being on Raw, Carmella being on SmackDown. Murphy, I think it's Murphy, or it's the other one, dating Alexa Bliss has been completely forgotten about, or not forgotten about, but just not told on story, and they really don't try to get into the personal lives of these wrestlers. But everyone knows, because of Total Bellas and Total Divas, that Cena and Nikki are dating. Everyone knows it. So why not utilize that on TV? Well, they haven't, and now they are. And I'm so excited. This will be the only time I pull for Cena, because I hate Miz more than Cena. I really hate Miz. He gets on my freaking nerves. Get him off of TV. I'm tired of Cena. He's a great heel, but he gets on my nerves. I don't understand why Miz is a great, and I will 100% applaud the Miz. Mike Mizanin, you are amazing for bringing Prestige back to my favorite title. But now that you've done that, please leave. He plays a Hollywood character, and I've never really cared for Hollywood type people. So in terms of he's arrogant and cocky, and again, he plays the perfect heel. But those are my opinions on where we are standing. I'll continue to update you guys on my thoughts. We'll do a couple podcasts with other people as well throughout the next month. Appreciate you guys for listening to me rant and all that. Hopefully I'm saying things other people agree with. If you don't, comment. I would love to discuss. I am Randall Beatley, also known as the Phenomenal Showoff, and I am signing off from the Raw Recap Show, WrestleMania Prediction Edition, My Opinion Rant Edition. Check out Concord Outlaws Wrestling on Facebook at facebook.com/Concord Outlaws Wrestling. I think it's the site. If not, there's but just search on Facebook Concord Outlaws Wrestling, and it should pop up. Thanks again for listening. I hope you join us again.